one of our special guests this evening, and we're thrilled to have her. When I was going through who registered for the event, I came upon Pat Mitchell's name, and Pat had just registered just like anyone else online. I said, I think I know Pat Mitchell. And sure enough, it was the Pat Mitchell. So we're pleased to have Pat with us. Pat was appointed Assistant Secretary for Rural Economic Development at the NC Department of Commerce on September 13th, 2013. She oversees the Rural Economic Development Division of NC Commerce. The division's programs include building reuse, economic infrastructure, the Division of Community Assistance, NC Broadband, Main Street, and North Carolina's Office for the Appalachian Regional Commission. Pat came to the Department of Commerce from a 9-year tenure in local economic development and county management. She holds a Certified Economic Developer distinction from the International Economic Development Council and is an adjunct professor for Appalachian State and NC State Universities. So welcome, Pat.
Notice how low we have to get the microphone for me. I am delighted to be here this evening. I drove in from Raleigh, left Raleigh about noontime. I come through this part of the state fairly often. I have a son that lives in the Atlanta area, so this is the way I drive down my home when I'm leaving my home up in Ashe County. I've never been off, I don't think, of the roads, that main road coming through. And when I drove back in here tonight, it is absolutely gorgeous. You all have got to feel really fortunate when you look out at the dogwoods and the azaleas and those mountains surrounding this church. I mean, it is beautiful. So I certainly commend you on the area in which you live. Talked to the Secretary of Commerce this morning, and he wanted me to send his greetings as well. Secretary Scavarla wants me to send the message how much he appreciates what the businesses and what the entrepreneurs do for the state of North Carolina. And when you come into a community like this, and when we're at the state level, we're talking about and trying to help communities enhance their economies. And when we get fortunate enough to come into communities like this, these are the people that are doing it. And we very much recognize that, and we appreciate that. So I'm going to just leave my remarks at that. I have the pleasure of introducing your real guest speaker, Scott Hamilton. And I've known Scott for about 10 years, have worked with him in various capacities. And as many of you know, he left this area last September, went up to Washington as the executive director of the Appalachian Regional Commission. I continue to work with Scott in that capacity. I'm the governor's alternate on that 13-state commission, so I think I see more of Scott now when he's in Washington and I'm in Raleigh than I did when we both lived in the West. In his role as executive director, he manages a 50-member staff. He is engaged in policy development, program development, manages a number of grant initiatives for the Appalachian Regional Commission. He does a great deal of traveling across those 13 states. As you know, before going up there, he was with Advantage West for a tenure, has worked in local economic development, has done chamber work, always in the public sector, helping to enhance economies in communities. He's held a number of leadership positions. I served on the NCEDA board, the Economic Developers Association board with Scott. He was instrumental in my getting involved in that as a gubernatorial appointment on the Workforce Development Commission. He's also served on the North Carolina Economic Development Partnership Board. Graduate of UNC Greensboro. He's also been through the University of Oklahoma Economic Development Institute and done a number of other leadership and training opportunities. So those are all the things I'm supposed to say about Scott Hamilton, having known him for 10 years. But here's what you need to hear about Scott Hamilton. Here's the important stuff, Scott. First off, if you know Scott well, and even if you don't know him well, one of the most important things to know about him is the dedicated family man that he is. And that the 10 years that I've known him, Hilda always comes into the conversation. Those girls always come into the conversation. And more importantly, for the last couple years, little Jackson has come into the conversation. Very dedicated family man who is very proud of his wife and very proud of those girls and that grandson. When I was considering and being offered the position of going into Raleigh as the Assistant Secretary of Commerce, one of the mentors that I've counted on over the past 10 years has been Scott Hamilton. I consider him a good personal friend in addition to a professional colleague. And when that position was offered to me and I was considering it, it was Scott Hamilton I called, drove down to Asheville. Scott, he was still with Advantage West, took me into the boardroom, and we sat for a couple hours talking about the organization of commerce, what this new rural division would look like, how I could explain to the secretary how I wanted to help stand up that division. A very good mentor to professional colleagues across the state. And finally, when Scott had the opportunity to go to Washington, he and I had a conversation as he looked at that job description, and he was very hesitant to apply for that position. And one of the things he told me, he says, "Pat, I don't want to have a job where I sit at a desk and I push paper around and I manage staff. That isn't what I want to do." I don't think he sat at that desk maybe more than a week, Scott, since you've taken that position. Yeah, I have been in, I guess, 3 different states with you as a part of that role. What Scott Hamilton likes to do is to be in communities like this, engaging with the people that make a difference in their communities, the businesses that make a difference in the communities, and try and enhance programming and try to enhance policy development for better quality of life in the 13 states in which he works now. I think we're all proud to call Scott Hamilton a friend. Scott, I'll turn it over to you. Help me welcome Scott.
Oh, my goodness. Dr. Mitchell, thank you, Pat, very much for that. That was very gracious. Good evening. Good evening. How are we doing? So far, so good? So Tommy said we're going to be out by midnight, so I'm going to have to cut my speech short. And it's great to be here with the folks with the Appalachian Trail, because very often when we're at meetings with the Appalachian Regional Commission, somebody comes up to us and always asks us about why isn't the grass cut along the trail. So I don't know. We don't know anything about the trail. But now I know who to call. Not me. No. But it is great to be with you all this evening. I have a high regard for the AT. And Tommy, thank you for the invite, for being here. It is great to be in Macon County with everybody. And commissioners, mayor, councilman, thank you for all of what you do in your public service to the people that you serve. We are certainly all very grateful for the time commitment that you give, because I don't know that everybody realizes what it means for the time that you do serve. And that goes for the members of the EDC as well, the board members there that provide and volunteer their time to make this the best place that it can be for the people that live here. And I appreciate it. And I really appreciate it. I have to say this, when I was at Advantage West, Tommy was my first chairman. And it was great to work for him. And then when he rotated off the board, and then a little bit after he left Advantage West, he took the position as Macon County's EDC director. And one day when I was still with Advantage West, Tommy and I were talking or having lunch, and he said, "If I'd known your job was this hard, I would have been much nicer to you." It's always hindsight there, Tommy. So I really appreciate being here, and it's great to be here. Dr. Mitchell, thank you again for that tremendous introduction. It means a great deal, and you have, I don't know how I've been a mentor to you when you've been a mentor to me, and I really appreciate that very, very much. But it is a pleasure to be back in Macon County, and it is great to be here and reconnect with friends in Franklin, but also to enjoy the mountains. Being in D.C., when I look out, it is building mountains from my office, and you see these different mountains, or the buildings in the landscape, and it is a nice view out of my office. But there is no view, as Pat Mitchell said, that when you come over Cowie Mountain and you're looking at the range, or you're coming up the interstate and you're being able to see the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it tells you that you're home, and it is very good. And I do feel at home being here with you again, and I thank you for inviting me to speak today as we celebrate the final day of BizWeek 2015 and show our appreciation to the business community here. But also let me join in, all of you, in congratulating the nominees for the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. This is an honor to be nominated, and they can and they ought to be rightly proud, and this demonstrates the strength of their character and the depth of their creativity. So to the nominees, I congratulate you. You establishing this award shows how seriously you take building economic opportunity in Macon County, and the faith you have in a new generation of imaginative entrepreneurs to pave the way forward. Your commitment to building economic opportunity reflects the very same commitment promoting economic growth and job creation that we have at the Appalachian Regional Commission. For those of you not familiar with the ARC, we are a regional economic development agency that represents a partnership of federal, state, and local government. We were established by an act of Congress in 1965, and we are composed of the governors of the 13 Appalachian states and a federal co-chair who is appointed by the President and confirmed by the Senate. There are 420 counties in the 13 states that make up the congressionally mandated Appalachian jurisdiction. Local participation is provided through multi-county local development districts such as the Council of Governments or the Southwestern Commission. Our goal is to bring Appalachia into economic parity with the rest of the nation. We are doing this by being a strategic partner and an advocate for sustainable community and economic development in the region. ARC funds projects that address 4 goals identified in our strategic plan. These goals are to increase job opportunities in per capita income in Appalachia, strengthen the capacity of the people of Appalachia to compete in the global economy, develop and improve Appalachia's infrastructure to make the region economically competitive, and build the Appalachian Development Highway System to reduce Appalachia's isolation. We are updating the plan this year, and we will be inviting your ideas and input through a series of listening sessions. There will be one in Forest City in Rutherford County on May 15th at the Carolina Event and Conference Center beginning at 10 a.m. I encourage you to join us. Just check out our website at www.arc.gov for more information. And if you're unable to attend the listening session, you can participate by filling out a survey that is also located on our website. So again, that website address is arc.gov. Earlier this year, at the Appalachian Governor's Quorum meeting, we released our research report on the economic changes and challenges in Appalachia over the past 50 years, since ARC's funding in 1965. You'll be pleased to know that there has been substantial progress made in the region over these years. To cite just a few examples, the number of high poverty counties has been cut from 295 in 1960 to 90 today. The regional poverty rate has been cut almost in half, from 31% to 16%. Infant mortality has been reduced by 2/3. The percentage of adults with a high school diploma has increased by over 150%. And students in Appalachia now graduate from high school at nearly the same rate as that of the nation as a whole. More than 850,000 Appalachian residents now have access to new or improved water and sanitation services through ARC projects. And let me note that also more than 2,000 miles of new highways has been built and opened since President Johnson made his historic 1964 visit to Martin County, Kentucky, leading to the creation of the Appalachian Regional Commission. So as you can see, progress has been made since the founding of ARC in 1965, and we're pleased with it. ARC continues to contribute to the progress and to be the substantial progress that is being made. Since 1965, ARC has funded nearly 25,000 strategic investments in non-highway activities in the region. Over the past 5 decades, ARC's investments have helped create nearly 312,000 jobs and $10 billion in added earnings. In addition, ARC investments helped counties add employment at 4.2% faster rate and increase per capita income at a 5.5% faster rate than similar counties outside of the region that did not receive ARC investments. Let me note here that we haven't left Macon County out as we've made our investments in the Appalachian region. I'm pleased to say that during the last 5 years alone, we've invested $10.4 million in 53 development projects that included Macon County and other surrounding counties. These projects entailed supporting incubators and entrepreneurship, promoting health and education, and strengthening community capacity. We supported the work that you do and will continue to do so. We have made a great deal of progress, but there is still tremendous need out there, and we must continue to focus on it. Appalachia confronts a combination of challenges that few other parts of the country face, and you know these challenges as well as I do. It's mountainous terrain and isolation, dispersed population, inadequate infrastructure, lack of financial and human resources, and a weak track record in applying for and receiving assistance from other federal programs. Nearly a fourth of Appalachia's counties still suffer from persistent and severe economic distress. Per capita market income in Appalachia was 25% lower than the nation in 2010. Two-thirds of Appalachian counties have unemployment rates that are higher than the national average. Appalachia lags behind the nation in proportion of adults with a college degree, 21% compared with 28% of the nation. Net population occurred in almost two-thirds of Appalachia's counties between 2000 and 2010. And Appalachia has higher rates of cancer, heart disease, and diabetes than the nation. And Central Appalachia, in particular, is wrecked by widespread abuse of prescription drugs. In 2010, the Appalachian region had a mortality rate that was 27% higher than the national average. In short, as we sum up the progress and challenges that remain, the way Appalachia looks today is a region transformed from one of widespread poverty to one of economic contrasts. Sometimes communities such as yours are successfully growing their economies, while others still require basic infrastructure such as roads and water, sewer, as well as broadband. These contrasts should not surprise us in light of the size of the region. Its 420 counties and 13 states covers an area extending more than 205,000 square miles from southern New York to northeastern Mississippi. If you'll remember, I mentioned this was a politically designated jurisdiction. So if you're asking how is New York and northern Mississippi in the Appalachian Mountains, well, again, it was a politically mandated jurisdiction. And we're home to over 25 million people. So we have our work cut out for us. This is why what your community is doing through its strategic partnerships is so important. As I noted earlier, it complements what we do at ARC, and it's indispensable to bringing about the economic growth we all want for the region. As one of the fastest growing counties in North Carolina, what you have accomplished is impressive. You have become a regional sales leader and created an ecosystem that not only promotes entrepreneurship, but supports the training of the workforce dedicated to making businesses succeed. You have energized the tourism industry, and you know how to help entrepreneurs get started, how to grow, and how to build the workforce they will depend on. This is an ideal combination. In the process, you have become one of the first counties to complete the Certified Entrepreneurial Community Program. And your commission has an entrepreneurship committee. That's pretty rare. I'm here today to encourage you to stay on track. You are an example for the rest of Appalachia in promoting economic opportunity as your local economy, once highly dependent on the real estate and home building industries, had to become more diversified if it was to thrive and grow. So as you continue to grow the business sector in your community and create the jobs that go with it, you are improving the quality of the life of the people here. And you deserve recognition and thanks for what you do. The global economy is relentless, and we need to continuously be on the lookout for economic opportunities, whether through business expansion, entrepreneurship, or attraction strategies. We will only flourish if we encourage new industries and activities, just as you are doing. At ARC, we welcome your ideas. You can always contact our ARC State Alternate, Pat Mitchell, who is here, and our program manager from North Carolina, Olivia Collier, to pass them on. We believe that Appalachia, including Macon County, represents the next great investment opportunity in our country. We believe it for three reasons. We have entrepreneurs, we have emerging economic opportunities, we have entrepreneurial ecosystems that can marry the two so that entrepreneurs can leverage and grow these opportunities. And all of this applies to Appalachia, North Carolina, and the economic development commissions such as yours. You have a critical role to play in turning opportunity into reality, and we are here to support you and to encourage you. So once again, I appreciate this opportunity of being with you. Tommy, thank you for this. I appreciate it. It is a great privilege to be here. Congratulations to those that will be winning awards this evening, and thank you for all you do to make Macon County a better place.
Okay, Scott, that was great. Thank you for those words, and I think very appropriate for this evening. And I wasn't that hard on you when Advantage West, okay?
That's not what your wife just said.
No, okay. Well, she had to listen to me when I got home.